You're still awake, not because you want to be, because something won't let you close your eyes. Maybe it's a conversation you replayed for the 100th time. Maybe it's a bill you don't know how to pay. Maybe it's just a feeling, a weight sitting on your chest that has no name. Here's what I want to tell you before we go further. That sleeplessness might not be your enemy. It might be an invitation. I've laid awake more nights than I can count, listening to the house settle, wondering if I was the only one still up. I used to believe that was a failure, a broken part of me. I don't believe that anymore. Some nights, God doesn't send sleep first. He sends stillness first. And in that stillness, He's not punishing you, He's speaking, waiting for you to stop running long enough to hear Him. You don't need to understand it tonight. You just need to rest in it. Tonight, we're not going to fight the sleeplessness. We're going to sit inside it and listen for what it might be trying to tell you. Stay with me. This is going to be different. Think about the last time you actually felt rested, not just asleep, rested, where your shoulders weren't carrying the day, where your mind wasn't already 3 steps into tomorrow before your feet even hit the floor. Can you remember it? For some of you, it's been so long that the question itself feels almost foreign. Like I'm asking you to recall a language you used to speak fluently and somehow forgot. I want you to sit with that for a moment. Not to feel bad about it, just to notice it. Because noticing is where everything changes. We live in a world that has convinced us rest is something we earn. That if we just push a little harder, finish one more task, worry about one more thing, then we'll be allowed to lay down and let go. So we chase the finish line every single day, and every single night it moves again. Isn't that strange? That we can be exhausted down to the bone and still not know how to actually stop. Here's something I've come to believe, slowly, after a lot of nights just like this one. Rest was never meant to be a reward. It was meant to be a rhythm, something built into the very fabric of how you were made. Not an afterthought, not a luxury, but a design. Even the earth rests. Winter isn't a punishment for the ground. It's a season the ground needs in order to grow again in spring. So why do we treat our own winters, our own tired, quiet, depleted seasons as something to be ashamed of? I think about the story of creation sometimes, late at night like this. 6 days of forming and filling, of speaking light into darkness. And then, on the 7th day, God rested. Not because He was tired. He rested to show us something. This is part of the pattern. This is part of what it means to be made in His image. If the one who spoke galaxies into existence paused to rest, what does it say about us that we think we're above needing the same? Maybe the real question isn't why can't I sleep? Maybe the real question is what have I been carrying that was never mine to carry alone? Sit with that one for a second. What have you been carrying? A decision, a relationship, a fear about the future that you were never actually meant to hold by yourself. You weren't designed to run at full speed forever. And yet here we are, night after night, treating stillness like the enemy instead of the gift it actually is. I wonder sometimes if the sleepless nights aren't punishment at all. I wonder if they're an invitation being sent to a heart that's forgotten how to receive one. A quiet voice underneath all the noise saying, slow down. You don't have to hold this alone anymore. You don't have to prove anything tonight. What would it feel like to actually believe that? Not just hear it, not just nod along, but let it settle into your bones the way exhaustion has settled into them for so long. I don't have a tidy answer for you tonight. But I do believe this: awareness is where healing begins. You can't put something down that you don't know you're holding. So tonight, before we go any further, I just want you to notice. Notice the weight. Notice where you feel it in your chest, your shoulders, the tightness behind your eyes. And just for these next few minutes, let it be seen, not fixed, not solved, just seen. Because sometimes being seen is the very first step toward being set free. I think about how differently we treat our bodies than we treat our hearts. If you broke your arm, you wouldn't push through it and keep using it like normal. You'd rest it, protect it, give it time, because healing requires stillness. But when it comes to the invisible weight, the grief never fully processed, the anxiety humming quietly under everything you do, we tell ourselves to just keep going, push through, stay strong, as if strength means never stopping. But real strength isn't the absence of rest. Real strength is knowing when you need it, and having the courage to actually take it. I remember a season in my own life when I didn't sleep well for months. Not because of one big crisis, but 100 small ones stacked quietly on top of each other until I didn't even recognize the weight anymore. It had just become normal. That's the dangerous thing about carrying too much for too long. It stops feeling like something you're carrying and starts feeling like something you are. And I remember the night something shifted, even just slightly. I wasn't praying for an answer. I was just lying there, too tired to form real words, and something in me finally whispered, I can't do this anymore. Not as a defeat, as a surrender, as permission. That's the piece nobody tells you about rest. Sometimes it doesn't arrive because you finally figured everything out. Sometimes it arrives the moment you finally stop trying to. Think about a child who's been fighting sleep all evening, eyes heavy but refusing to close them, afraid of what they'll miss, or just not ready to let the day end. And then, eventually, in a parent's arms, something in them softens. They stop fighting. That surrender isn't weakness, it's trust. Maybe that's closer to what tonight is asking of you. Not a solution, not a 5-step plan, just a softening. A willingness to stop fighting for 1 hour and trust that the world will still be standing tomorrow, and that you don't have to hold it together every single second for that to be true. I want to ask you something else, gently. When you picture God right now, what do you see? Some of us picture a distant figure, disappointed in how we're managing our lives. Some of us picture nothing at all. But I want to offer you a different image tonight, one that Scripture returns to again and again. Not a God standing over you with a checklist. A God kneeling beside you, the way you'd kneel beside someone struggling to breathe, saying, I'm not going anywhere, just breathe, I've got you. That image alone has gotten me through more nights than I can count. So here's what I'll leave you with in this part of our time together. You don't need to have this figured out tonight. You don't need to understand every ache in your chest or every worry circling your mind. You just need to let it be known, let it be seen, and let yourself, just for tonight, stop carrying it alone. Let's pray together now. Not a rushed prayer, not a prayer with an agenda, just an honest one between you and the God who already knows everything you've been carrying tonight. Before you even say a word, close your eyes if you can. Let your hands rest open in your lap, palms up, the way you'd hold something out to someone you trust, a small act of surrender, of saying, here, you can have this. Father, I come to you tonight, tired. Not just tired in my body, but tired in the places words don't usually reach. Tired of holding things together. Tired of pretending I'm fine when I'm not. Tired of carrying weight that was never meant to be carried alone. Take a breath in with me, slow, and let it out. Lord, you already know what's keeping me up tonight. You know the name of the person I'm worried about. You know the number on the bill I keep avoiding. You know the memory that keeps replaying, the conversation I wish had gone differently, the decision I'm still not sure I made right. I don't have to explain it to you. You were there for every bit of it. So tonight, instead of trying to fix it all in my own strength, I'm bringing it to you exactly as it is. Not the polished version, not the version I show other people. The real one. I lay down my worry about tomorrow. I lay down my need to have all the answers tonight. I lay down the fear that if I stop pushing, everything will fall apart. Breathe in again and let it out slowly. Lord, teach me what it means to actually rest in you. Not just rest my body, but rest my mind, my heart, the parts of me that have been on guard for so long they've forgotten how to stand down. I don't want to just fall asleep tonight. I want to actually let go. I think of your word, where it says, "Cast all your care upon him, for he careth for you." Not some of it, all of it. Even the parts I'm embarrassed about. Even the parts I don't fully understand myself. Even the fear I haven't said out loud to anyone. So I'm casting it now, Lord, right here in this quiet moment. I'm not strong enough to hold it, and I don't have to be, because you are. Thank you for not asking me to have it all figured out before I come to you. Thank you for meeting me in the mess, in the exhaustion, in the middle of the night when everyone else is asleep and I'm still awake, wondering if anyone even notices. You notice. You've always noticed. Help me trust that you are working even when I can't see it. Help me trust that this season, as heavy as it feels right now, is not the end of my story. Help me believe that morning is coming, even if tonight feels endless. Breathe in one more time, and let it out, slow and long, like you're releasing something you've been holding on to for far too long. Lord, quiet my mind. Quiet the noise, the replaying, the planning, the worrying. Let there be a stillness in me tonight that doesn't depend on my circumstances being resolved. A peace that doesn't make sense by the world's standards, because it's not from the world, it's from you. I release my family into your hands tonight. I release my finances into your hands. I release my health, my future, my regrets, my fears, all of it into your hands, because they were always safer there than they ever were in mine. You don't need to understand it tonight, you just need to rest in it. Wrap your peace around me now, Lord, like a blanket pulled up to the chin on a cold night. Let my body soften, let my breathing slow, let my heart believe, even just a little more than it did an hour ago, that I am held, that I am seen, that I am not alone in this. Thank you for loving me even on the nights I don't feel very lovable. Thank you for staying close even when I've felt distant. Thank you for being patient with me, the way you always have been, the way you always will be. Lord, I also want to pray for anyone else listening right now who is carrying something heavier than words can hold tonight. You know them by name. You know the specific ache in their chest, the specific fear keeping them up, the specific person or circumstance weighing on their heart. I ask that you would meet each one individually, the way only you can, not with a generic comfort, but with the exact kind of peace they need in this exact moment. For the one worried about a child who's struggling, wrap your arms around that fear tonight. Remind them that you love that child even more than they do. For the one lying awake because of a relationship that's grown distant, soften the hard places. Give wisdom for tomorrow and peace for tonight. For the one facing a diagnosis, a body that doesn't feel like it used to, remind them their days are held safely in your hands, and fear does not get the final word. For the one grieving someone they lost, let this moment of stillness hold that memory gently, not painfully. For the one anxious about money or work, remind them that you have never once failed to provide, even when the path wasn't visible yet. Lord, meet every one of us exactly where we are, tired and honest and reaching toward you in the dark. You don't need to understand it tonight. You just need to rest in it. Wrap your peace around me now, Lord, like a blanket pulled up to the chin on a cold night. Let my body soften. Let my breathing slow. Let my heart believe, even just a little more than it did an hour ago, that I am held, that I am seen, that I am not alone in this. I think of the words, be still, and know that I am God. Not be productive and know that I am God. Just be still. That's the whole invitation tonight. Not because the problems have vanished, but because you are bigger than every one of them, and you are not asking me to solve them before I'm allowed to rest. So I choose stillness tonight, Lord, even though it doesn't come naturally to me. I choose to trust you with what I cannot control. I choose to believe you are already working on my behalf while I sleep, in ways I may never fully see. Thank you for loving me even on the nights I don't feel very lovable. Thank you for staying close even when I've felt distant. Thank you for being patient with me, the way you always have been, the way you always will be. In Jesus' name, I pray, Amen. Stay in that stillness for just a moment longer. You don't need to rush back into thinking. You don't need to open your eyes just yet. Let the prayer settle over you like something warm. Let your eyes stay closed now, and let me paint you a picture. Not to distract you, just to give your mind somewhere gentle to land, now that your heart has said what it needed to say. Picture a small house at the edge of a quiet town. The kind of house with a porch light left on, not because anyone's expected, but out of habit, out of care. Inside, one lamp glows in the front room, soft and amber, the kind of light that doesn't ask anything of you. Outside, rain has just started to fall, not a storm, just a gentle, steady rain, the kind that taps against the window like it's keeping its own quiet rhythm. You can hear it if you listen. Tap, tap, tap. Nothing urgent, just present. There's a blanket folded over the back of a chair in that front room, the kind that's soft from years of use, worn in exactly the places a body rests against it most. And somehow, in this picture, that blanket is for you. Whenever you're ready, it's there. I want you to imagine yourself walking into that room now. Not literally, just let your mind wander there, the way it might wander to a place from childhood, half remembered, warm around the edges. The floor creaks slightly under your feet, an old, familiar sound. You sit down, you pull that blanket over your knees, and for the first time all day, there is nowhere else you need to be. Outside the window, past the rain, there's a single street lamp glowing at the end of the road. It's been there for years, through every season, every storm, every quiet night, just like this one. It doesn't flicker, it doesn't waver, it just stays lit, faithfully, whether anyone's watching or not. I think that's a little like God's presence in our lives. Steady, unchanging, not going anywhere, even on the nights we forget to look for it. Let the sound of the rain settle into you now. Tap, tap, tap. Each drop is small, but together they create something almost musical, a rhythm that doesn't need your attention to keep going. It will keep falling whether you notice it or not. And in the same way, God's care for you doesn't depend on you noticing it, or earning it, or understanding it fully. It simply is. Constant, quiet, there. Picture the fireplace in the corner of that room. Embers glowing low, orange light flickering gently against the walls. No one needs to tend it right now. It's already doing exactly what it was made to do, giving warmth, quietly, without demanding anything in return. Let that be a picture of grace for you tonight. Something given, not earned. Something present, even when you're too tired to notice it. Somewhere further down the road, past the street lamp, past the reach of the porch light, the world is still turning. People are working night shifts, driving home late, sitting up with sick children, staring at ceilings, just like you were an hour ago. You are not alone in this hour, even if it feels that way. Somewhere, right now, someone else is exactly where you are, tired, awake, wondering if morning will ever come. And somewhere, right now, God is with every single one of you, all at once, in a way that defies how we usually understand presence. Let the rain continue outside the window. Let the fire continue to glow. Let the blanket stay wrapped around you, heavier now, warmer now, pulling you gently down into rest. I want you to notice your breathing for a moment, not to change it, just to notice it, in and out, slow and steady, like the rain outside, like the rhythm of a house settling for the night, like a body finally remembering that it's allowed to stop. There's a window seat in that room too, one you hadn't noticed before, cushioned and soft, facing out toward the dark yard where nothing needs your attention right now. The grass is wet from the rain, silver under the faint moonlight breaking through the clouds. Nothing out there is asking anything of you. No task waiting. No conversation to have. No decision to make. Just stillness, spread out across the yard like a blanket of its own. You don't need to understand it tonight. You just need to rest in it. Feel the weight of the day beginning to lift, even just slightly, the way fog lifts slowly off a field in early morning, not all at once, but gradually, gently, in its own time. You don't have to force this. You don't have to try harder to relax. Just let it happen, the way rain falls, the way embers glow, the way a house settles into its own quiet after a long day. The lamp in the corner flickers ever so slightly, then steadies again. Outside, the rain begins to soften, slowing from a steady rhythm to something even gentler, like the night itself is exhaling. And in this room, in this imagined stillness, you are safe, you are warm, you are held. Picture a clock on the mantel, the old kind, with a slow, steady tick. It doesn't rush, it doesn't hurry you along. It simply marks time the way it always has, patient and unbothered, as if it knows something you sometimes forget, that there is enough time to rest, enough time for tomorrow to come on its own schedule, without your help, without your worry standing guard over it all night. On the small table beside the chair, there's a cup of something warm, tea maybe, or something simpler, just warmth held in your hands, steam rising slowly into the lamplight. You don't have to drink it. It's just there, the way comfort is sometimes just there, waiting for you to notice it rather than chase it. Somewhere upstairs, in this house that exists only in this quiet moment we've built together, There's a room with the door left slightly open, the way a parent leaves a door open for a child, so the light from the hallway can spill in just enough to keep the dark from feeling too dark. I think God does that for us too. He doesn't flood us with blinding light when we're overwhelmed. He leaves the door open just enough light to know we're not alone, just enough to find our way if we need to. Let your shoulders drop a little further into whatever you're resting against right now. Let your jaw unclench. Let your hands, wherever they are, go soft and open, the way they were when we prayed a few minutes ago. There's nothing to hold on to tightly right now. Nothing to grip, nothing to defend. Let yourself stay here a little longer. There's nowhere else you need to be tonight. Let's turn now to some words that have carried tired hearts through long nights for thousands of years. Let them wash over you slowly. You don't need to analyze them. You don't need to remember them. Just let them settle, one at a time, like snow falling gently outside a window. From Psalm 4, verse 8, it is written, I will both lay me down in peace and sleep. For thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety. Let that sit with you for a moment. Lay me down in peace and sleep, not lay me down in worry, not lay me down still calculating tomorrow's problems. Lay me down in peace. That's the invitation tonight. Not because everything is resolved, not because every question has an answer, but because the one who watches over you doesn't sleep, doesn't grow tired, doesn't need a break from caring for your life. From Psalm 23, the words many of you have known since childhood. Let's hear them again tonight, as if for the first time. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He restoreth my soul, not just my body, not just my circumstances, my soul, the deepest, quietest part of who I am, the part that gets worn down by years of carrying things too heavy, the part that forgets sometimes what peace even feels like. That part, too, he restores. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou art with me. Not thou wilt fix everything tonight. Not thou wilt remove every hard thing from my path. Thou art with me. That's the promise. Presence, not always resolution. And somehow, presence is enough, even on the nights it doesn't feel like it should be. Let's rest in Psalm 91 for a moment, a psalm written for exactly nights like this one. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. The secret place, not a place you have to travel to, not a place reserved for the spiritually perfect or the ones who have it all together. A secret place available to you right now, tonight, in whatever state your heart is in, tired, anxious, uncertain, worn thin. That place is still open to you. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God. In Him will I trust. My refuge, my fortress. Say that quietly to yourself, if you can. My refuge, not my problems, not my anxiety, not the weight of everything unresolved. My refuge is the Lord. Let's move gently into Psalm 121. Another psalm written for the weary traveller, for the one who has been watching, waiting, carrying. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. My help cometh from the Lord, not from figuring it all out myself tonight, not from staying awake long enough to solve every problem, My help cometh from the Lord, who made heaven and earth, and who is more than capable of holding what you cannot hold alone. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. He will not slumber. While you rest tonight, he remains awake. While your eyes close, his watch over you does not end. That's the quiet miracle hidden inside this psalm. You are allowed to stop watching because he never stops. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. Thy keeper. Let that word settle into you. Not your judge tonight. Not your critic, replaying every mistake from today. Your keeper. The one who holds, protects, watches over, gently, faithfully, without condition. One more, from Psalm 3, verse 5. I laid me down and slept. I awaked, for the Lord sustained me. I laid me down and slept. Such a simple sentence, and yet, for so many of us, such a hard thing to actually do. Tonight, let it be true for you too. Let this be the night you lay down, not because every worry has disappeared, but because you are choosing, in this moment, to trust the one who sustains you while you rest. Let's rest in one more passage, from Psalm 62, verse 1. Truly my soul waiteth upon God. From him cometh my salvation. My soul waiteth, not my soul strives. Not my soul strategizes its way out of every hard season. My soul waiteth quietly, patiently, trusting that what needs to be worked out will be worked out, in time, in his hands, not mine alone. He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. I shall not be greatly moved. I shall not be greatly moved. Even when life shakes around you, and it will, because that's simply what life does sometimes, there is a steadiness available to you that doesn't come from your own strength. It comes from a rock underneath you that was never going to move. No matter how hard the waves came, trust in him at all times. The people, pour out your heart before him. God is a refuge for us. Double quotes, pour out your heart. That's what we did earlier tonight, in prayer. And that's what these psalms are inviting you to keep doing, even now, even in silence, not holding anything back, not performing a version of faith that looks put together, just pouring out exactly what's there, and trusting that it's received with love, not judgment. Let's close this passage of scripture with words from Psalm 4 once more. The same words we began with, because some truths are worth returning to twice in one night. I will both lay me down in peace, and sleep, for thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety. Let that be your final thought as these verses settle. Not the weight of the day, not the list of tomorrow's tasks. Just this, I will lay me down in peace, because he, and he only, makes me dwell in safety. You don't need to understand it tonight. You just need to rest in it. Let these words settle now. There's no more to add. Just let them rest in you, the way you are learning to rest in him. There's nothing more to say right now. Just breathe in and out. Let your body sink a little deeper into wherever it's resting. There's no lesson coming, no teaching, no new thought to hold on to. Just this moment, just you and the quiet, and whatever presence you believe is here with you. Let your mind wander if it wants to. Let it settle if it wants to. There's no wrong way to be right now. Listen to the silence for a moment. Not an empty silence, a full one. The kind that exists after something true has been said, and nothing more needs adding. You don't need to understand it tonight. You just need to rest in it. Feel your hands, Wherever they are, notice their weight, their stillness. Feel your breath again. Slower now than it was an hour ago. Slower than it was this morning. Slower than it's been in a long time, maybe. There's nowhere to be, nothing to solve. No version of yourself you need to perform right now. Just this. Just breath. Just quiet. Let a few seconds pass without words. Let your thoughts drift unattached, like leaves moving slowly on the surface of still water. If your mind wanders to something heavy, let it pass through gently, without holding on. It doesn't need to be solved tonight. It's allowed to just pass. If your mind wanders to something good, let that stay a little longer. Let it warm you. Notice the weight of your own body right now. The way it rests against whatever is holding it, a bed, a couch, a chair, solid, supported, held. There's a kind of peace that doesn't come from understanding everything. It comes from simply being still long enough to remember you're not required to hold everything together every single second. This is one of those moments. Let it be enough. Let the silence hold you the way it's meant to. Nothing is being asked of you right now. Not a single thing. Just presence. Just rest. Just this quiet, shared moment between you and whatever is bigger than tonight's worries. Stay here a little longer. There's no rush. The night isn't going anywhere. And neither is the peace that's slowly settling over you, whether you feel it fully yet or not. Just breathe in and out. Let a little more of the day fall away with each breath. Let a little more of the tension leave your shoulders, your jaw, the space behind your eyes. You don't have to think about anything right now. Not one thing. Just be here. Just this. Just quiet. Let the silence stretch a little longer now. Let it become familiar, the way a room becomes familiar the longer you sit in it. Not something to escape, something to rest inside of. There is nothing wrong with you for needing this. There is nothing weak about stillness. There is nothing lazy about rest. This is allowed. This is enough. Just breathe. Just be. Just stay here, in this quiet, for as long as you need to. There's a kind of rest that only comes when we stop trying to earn it. When we stop measuring the day by what got done and simply let the day be finished. Exactly as it is, unfinished tasks and all. Nothing about tonight requires you to have accomplished more. Nothing about this quiet requires you to have figured something out first. You're allowed to just exist right now. Nothing more. Feel the room around you, even with your eyes closed. The temperature of the air. The texture of whatever you're resting on. The quiet hum of a house at night, or the distant sound of a car passing somewhere far off. None of it needs your attention. It's simply there, the backdrop to this stillness. Let your thoughts come slower now. Let the spaces between them grow wider. There's no clock ticking on this moment. No timer counting down. Just the quiet, unfolding at its own pace, exactly the way it needs to. If you feel your mind wanting to plan, to worry, to review the day one more time, gently let it go. Not with force. Just a soft release. The way you'd open your hand and let something fall, rather than gripping it tighter. This is not a moment for solving. This is a moment for simply being. Feel your chest rise. Feel it fall. Feel the weight of your own body, settled now, heavier than it was when we started tonight. There is nothing else required of you. Not tonight. Not in this moment. Just this quiet. Just this breath. Just this stillness. shared between you and whatever presence you feel here with you. Let it hold you a little longer. Let yourself be held. Think, for just a moment, about how rare this actually is. A stretch of time with nowhere to be. Nothing to produce. No one waiting on a response. So much of life pulls you forward, one task into the next, one obligation into another. This moment doesn't pull. It simply waits, patiently, for you to arrive fully into it. You are here now, nowhere else, nothing else required. Notice if there's any part of you still resisting this stillness, still wanting to check one more thing, think through one more problem. That's all right. That's simply what a tired mind does. Just notice it, without judgment, and gently return to the quiet. The quiet will still be here. It's not going anywhere. Let your breathing find its own rhythm now, without you directing it. In, whenever it comes. Out, whenever it's ready to leave. Trust your body to know how to do this. It always has. Somewhere in this stillness, healing happens that words can't reach. Somewhere in this quiet, the nervous system finally exhales after holding its breath all day, all week, maybe longer than that. You don't have to understand how that works. You just have to let it happen. Stay in this space a little longer. There's no reason to hurry out of it. Just breathe. Just be. Just stay here, in this quiet, for as long as you need to. I want to share something with you now, gently, before we come to the end of our time together tonight. Something I've carried with me for years. Something that has changed the way I understand these long, sleepless nights. There's a story in the Gospel of Mark, chapter 4, that I think about more than almost any other passage in Scripture. Jesus and his disciples are crossing the Sea of Galilee in a boat, and a great storm rises up, waves crashing over the sides, wind howling. The kind of storm that made even experienced fishermen believe they were about to die. And where is Jesus during all of this? Asleep, in the back of the boat, on a cushion, sound asleep, while the storm rages round him. I used to read that story and wonder how anyone could sleep through something so terrifying. But the longer I've lived, the more I've come to believe that detail isn't incidental. It's the whole point. Jesus wasn't sleeping because he didn't care about the storm. He was sleeping because he wasn't afraid of it. He knew something the disciples didn't yet know, that the storm, as violent as it looked, was never going to be the end of the story. He had complete peace, even in circumstances that terrified everyone around him. The disciples wake him up, panicked, saying, "Master, carest thou not that we perish?" And Jesus doesn't scold them for waking him. He simply stands, speaks 3 words to the wind and the waves, "Peace, be still," and immediately the storm stops. Complete calm, instant stillness, where moments before there had been chaos. Here's what I think this story is really teaching us, especially on nights like tonight. Your storm, whatever's keeping you up right now, whatever wave feels like it's about to capsize everything, it's not bigger than the one who spoke it into stillness. It never was. It just feels that way at 2 a.m. when you're alone with your thoughts and the world feels quiet except for the noise in your own mind. I think there's something significant, too, about the fact that Jesus was in the boat with them the entire time. He didn't calm the storm from a distance. He didn't send a message telling them everything would be fine while remaining safely on shore. He was right there, in the middle of the chaos with them, even while he slept. His presence didn't depend on the storm being calm first. That's such a different picture than the one many of us carry around instinctively, this idea that God is only close to us when things are going well, and distant from us when everything falls apart. But this story tells a different truth. He was there in the boat during the worst of it. He is here with you now, in whatever version of a storm you're facing, even if it doesn't feel calm yet, even if you can't feel it. Presence isn't the same as resolution, and yet, somehow, presence changes everything. I also think about what it must have felt like for the disciples in that moment right after the storm stopped. The wind that had been howling just seconds before, gone. The waves that had been crashing over the boat, suddenly still, like glass. I imagine the silence in that moment was almost louder than the storm itself had been. That strange, holy quiet that comes right after something terrifying finally lets go. I wonder if that's what's waiting for you tonight, in some smaller, quieter way. Not necessarily the resolution of every problem. Some storms take longer to calm than others, and that's all right too. But a version of that same peace, a stillness settling over your chest the way it settled over that sea. Not because the circumstances changed instantly, but because you remembered, even for a moment, who's actually in the boat with you. There's another detail in that passage I think about often. After the storm calms, Jesus turns to the disciples and asks, "Why are ye so fearful? How is it that ye have no faith?" It's not a harsh question. I don't read it as scolding. I read it more like a father gently asking his child why they were so afraid when he was right there the whole time. Not because the fear wasn't real. The storm was real. The danger was real. The danger was real, but because faith and fear were both present in that boat, and only one of them needed to have the final word. Maybe that's the invitation tonight, too. Not to pretend the storm in your life isn't real. Not to force yourself into a peace you don't actually feel. But to remember that fear doesn't have to be the loudest voice in the room. There's another presence here too, quieter, steadier, that has weathered every storm before this one and will weather this one too. You don't need to understand it tonight. You just need to rest in it. I think about how the disciples must have looked at each other after that storm calmed, exhausted. A little embarrassed maybe, but mostly just relieved. And I think about how Jesus probably looked at them with nothing but compassion. Not frustration that they'd woken him, not irritation at their fear. Just a quiet, patient love that met them exactly where they were, panicked and soaked and afraid, and brought peace anyway. That's the same love available to you tonight. Not a love that requires you to have your fear fully conquered first. A love that meets you in the boat, in the middle of the storm, and says, "Peace, be still," even when your own heart hasn't caught up to those words yet. Let that be true for you tonight, even if you can't feel it fully yet. Let it be true slowly, gradually, the way peace often arrives, not all at once, but wave by wave, until eventually the sea inside you is calm too. And when morning comes, whatever it brings, you won't be facing it in your own strength alone. The same presence that was in the boat then is in the room with you now, not distant, not delayed, not waiting for you to earn it. Already here, already close, already holding what you couldn't hold by yourself. We're near the end now. Not the end of the peace you've found tonight that can stay with you long after this video ends. Just the end of these words, these minutes we've spent together in the quiet. I want you to notice something before we close. Notice how different your body feels right now compared to when we began. Maybe your shoulders have dropped. Maybe your breathing has slowed. Maybe the tightness behind your eyes has eased, even just a little. That's not an accident. That's what happens when a tired soul is finally given permission to stop. You didn't need to fix everything tonight. You didn't need to solve the problem that's been keeping you up, or resolve the worry that's been circling your mind for days, maybe weeks. All you needed to do was show up honestly and let yourself be met exactly where you were. And you did that. You're doing that right now, simply by still being here. I want to remind you one more time of something we said earlier, because I think it's worth hearing again as we close. You don't need to understand it tonight. You just need to rest in it. Whatever storm you're facing, a relationship that feels uncertain, a health concern you haven't fully processed, a financial worry that follows you into the dark, a grief that hasn't finished healing, a fear about tomorrow you can't quite name. None of it requires a full explanation before you're allowed to lay it down. Understanding can come later, in its own time, if it comes at all. Tonight, all that's being asked of you is rest. I think about how many nights I spent trying to think my way out of feelings instead of simply letting myself feel them and release them to God. How many hours I wasted trying to solve problems at 1 a.m. that could only really be solved with daylight, clarity, and help from other people. I wish someone had told me sooner that some things aren't meant to be carried alone in the dark. Some things are meant to be handed over quietly and picked back up tomorrow with rested hands and a clearer mind, if they even need to be picked back up at all. So, if there's one thing I want you to take from tonight, it's this: you are allowed to rest before everything is resolved. You are allowed to sleep before every question is answered. That's not avoidance. That's not giving up. That's trust. That's faith in its quietest, most practical form, the kind that doesn't announce itself with big declarations, but simply chooses, night after night, to lay down and let go. He is watching over you tonight, not distantly, not passively, actively, closely, the way a parent watches over a sleeping child, not because the child needs to earn that watchfulness, but because love simply works that way, constant, unconditional, present, whether you're aware of it or not. I think about that verse from Psalm 121 again: he that keepeth thee will not slumber. While you rest tonight, he remains awake. While your mind finally quiets, his care for you does not. You can let go completely because someone else is holding on. If you came into tonight's video carrying something heavy, I hope some of that weight has lifted, even slightly. Not necessarily gone completely. Some burdens take longer than 1 quiet hour to fully release, but lighter, somehow, more bearable, less alone. And if you came into tonight simply looking for rest, for a way to quiet a busy mind after a long day, I hope you've found a version of that here. I hope these words have done what they were meant to do, not to entertain you, not to teach you something complicated, but simply to walk beside you for a little while, until you were ready to rest. Before we close completely, let's return one final time to where we started. You're still awake right now, maybe, as these final words play, but you don't have to fight that any longer. You don't have to force sleep, or worry about not being tired enough yet, or measure how well you're doing at relaxing. Just let this be the last thought you carry with you as we finish. You don't need to understand it tonight. You just need to rest in it. Let your body settle fully now. Let your breathing find its slowest, most natural rhythm. Let your mind, if it wants to, drift toward sleep, gently, without any pressure to arrive there quickly. Lord, thank you for this time together. Thank you for meeting each person who spent this hour here, exactly where they were. I ask that you would continue to watch over them long after this video ends, through the night, into the morning, and into whatever tomorrow holds. Let them wake rested. Let them wake reminded that they are loved, they are kept, and they were never carrying any of this alone. In Jesus' name, amen. You can lay it down now, every worry, every ache, every unanswered question from today. You can lay it down now. Good night, and God bless.